From CRI Simple Numbers, this is Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast, a podcast for those championing market growth and anchoring the nation's economy, small businesses, and entrepreneurs.
Hey there. Welcome to another episode of the Simple Numbers Profitability Playbook Podcast. I'm Mike Maxon. That's Brandon Gray. And we're back with another guest, David Kochenik of thoughtleadership.com. So we're definitely taking a different route on this one, everybody. We've done lots of, of those pillars of business, HR, marketing, and all that other stuff. But we're going to get into a concept today called thought leadership. And before I get going, I want to say that I have several buddies that think they're thought leaders in drinking and bar games and everything else. This is not that. This is what you see a lot out there on LinkedIn. If you're in that world where you're seeing people talk about stuff and really trying to hone in on, hey, is this someone I should listen to? Is this a good source of information? Is this something that this person is really got that clout behind them to be speaking on things? And my man David here is here to open our eyes to all that. So David, thanks for coming on, my man.
Yeah. And Mike, I think your drinking buddies, I think technically they would be subject matter experts as thought leaders.
Hey, I was in the Army. We got a graduate degree in that. Well, awesome. So we're going to hit you with some questions here, and I can't wait because I'm eager to learn about a lot of this stuff. Because like I said, some of us just think we're thought leaders, but what does all that actually really mean? And then how can you then leverage it in your career, in your position at work and all that stuff? So real quick though, tell us, about your background and how this whole thought leadership came to be.
Yeah. Good question. Right. So, I've been running an executive branding firm for nearly a decade now, and we've worked with over 6,000 clients. But over the last couple of years, we've seen a pretty significant shift. And the big challenge isn't just getting your resume together, your professional bio, optimizing your LinkedIn profile. It's really about getting recognized in your industry by the right people for the right topics. Right. So we have, in fact, let me, I'll share a story about one of our clients. So she was going through a career transition, a senior level executive, and she was kind of going about it the traditional way, and it wasn't working. So she came to us. We worked on her, what we call the career success proposition, the thing that makes her unique. And then we built her career success story, her resume on top of that, and optimized her LinkedIn profile. So that's all good. So she had a brand document, so to speak, all together. But it wasn't until she posted a post on LinkedIn that garnered the attention of the right recruiter. And as a result of that, she ended up landing a Fortune 500 leadership role, right? And so the big takeaway there was that this was more than just about framing your expertise, right? It's about becoming the recognized expert in your space. And so what we realized is that thought leadership, it's not just about personal branding, right? It becomes a strategic asset for the organization that you represent. And the research shows, right, your perceived authority is actually more important than the quality of your product or service. And I know some people are going to just,
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, but you may have the better product, right? Arguably, Apple doesn't have a better product, right? They're playing catch up with the Samsung and whatnot, but they're more visible and they're that perceived design authority. That's how they beat you to the punch, right? So the best way to do this is by sharing the content that shows how you think. It demonstrates your experience and why you're the go-to person on that topic, because that builds the credibility for you, sure, the individual, but it also elevates the trust in the organization that they represent. So a long answer, but that's the how we ended up where the realization is we need to be focusing on thought leadership and how we can help companies take advantage of this opportunity to build their authority and become those go-to players in their particular markets.
Awesome. And I guess, you sort of, you said that what that meant, but why now? Like why is this, what makes it important now to go into thought leadership? Like, is it because there's a lot of misinformation, or is it because everyone's starting to do it now?
Right.
What is the reason behind it? I feel like every time someone posts something on LinkedIn, they know I should listen to them, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and I guess on that last point, like maybe you should listen to them. Right.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, right? True thought leadership. It means you're sharing original content, valuable ideas that, and think about it. What I'm publishing, is that actually helping move the industry forward, right? And and it's not just the visibility. It's about, do they trust you as well? And like I said, right, this isn't also just personal brand. Think about it. Most organizations are actually sitting on a gold mine of hidden thought leadership, right?
Mhm.
They have subject matter expertise. In fact, they probably have a team of subject matter experts who can answer all the key questions that your potential customers are wondering about. And they're doing their homework and going through that buying process.
Mhm.
That content could help, right? So this is an opportunity to build trust before that first sales call ever happens.
Sure.
And I guess the answer of why now, yeah, I would say it's never been more important. So
Mhm.
last year, Edelman and LinkedIn, they did a study specific to B2B thought leadership.
Mhm.
And what it showed was that companies that invest in high quality thought leadership content, they simply outperform the other companies. And
Hmm.
in B2B especially, buyers are now doing, I think the number was 70% of their research before they ever talk to a salesperson.
Oh, wow.
So
That's a good one.
if you're not standing out as that trusted voice early in the journey, you're already behind the eight ball, right? So
Mhm.
so the thought leadership approach, it gives you a way to reach those 95% of people in your market who aren't actively pressing the buy button right now, right? But they will be, right? Build that trust, shorten that sales cycle with that insight. In fact, think about your own business, right? So simple numbers. Obviously, the book initially, the first one that came out, and then subsequently the second one. Do you have clients that come to you guys directly because they're familiar with Greg's books, or maybe even familiar with this podcast,
Well, definitely.
Yeah.
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 right? So you've seen that. Now, here's my question: how are those sales calls different from the people who come to you who aren't familiar with the simple numbers concepts?
Yeah. No, you're spot on, because we talk about the topics, or yeah, it's just a very, very mutual interest and everything.
It moves from educating them on who we are to how we can help them. And that's, like I said, it's pretty much at that point in time, all the research has been done. So, and I would add in there too, around the time, one of the topics that we've been talking a lot about with clients is that in order to grow in the current marketplace, you have to steal the business.
Mhm.
And if you're not the leader, it's hard to go in and steal. We don't have just the demand to where you might get the leftovers. You got to go take it right now.
Yeah, that is the market. And but but here's the challenge, right? When the AI tools became widely available, the volume of content, it didn't just increase, it exploded, right? Not
Mm.
those tools didn't make it 10 times easier, made it 1,000 times easier,
Mhm.
right? The challenge with that is most of that content is generic, right? Surface level, not really insightful. And now these audience are, they're drowning in what I like to call the lowest common denominator content, right? And it's getting worse. So what we need to be doing today is thinking original, valuable ideas that question long held industry beliefs and myths, and bring this new perspective based on your industry experience and based on that subject matter expertise, just raising it up so that people can actually hear it.
Nice. Well, and you mentioned something earlier, and I thought now would be a good time to hit on it, but there might be this potential confusion with like personal branding, right? Like I honestly, in my mind, I would go to that a little bit. Prior to hearing it from you, if someone would have just said it to me, Mike, thought leadership, personal branding, I'd be like, well, that's kind of
Right.
the same thing to me. But it's why. Can you go ahead and explain to us why it's different?
Yeah, a great question. A lot of confusion around this, and most of what you hear or read online is going to be around thought leadership as a way of personal branding, especially for authors, keynote speakers, all that kind of thing. Um, the way we like to think about it is, imagine a matrix, a 2 by 2 matrix, and actually have this. Maybe we'll share it later, but I'll talk through it, right? Because I know people are listening here. So there's two axes on here. So you have your horizontal axis that is visibility, right? Going from unknown to known, right? So nobody knows you to you're a household name.
Mhm.
The vertical axis, though, this is about the originality of your ideas, right? Is it just common knowledge or is it truly new insights? So low to high, top to bottom. So then think about the far left, right? So the far left piece of the lower left quadrant, I guess it would be. We refer to these as aspiring players. They have no visibility and no new ideas.
Mm.
So it's like, okay, you got a lot of work to do. You've got to raise your authority and your visibility. In the next quadrant over to the right, this would be the lower right quadrant. These are the popular amplifiers, right? So think, I'll give a couple of examples. Dave Ramsey, right? Very well known, very successful in the broadcast space, all around the topic of money, but less about sort of new insights and more about the proven advice that works for most people most of the time. So he has a huge audience, but not a lot of new things. Or if you have kids, Bill Nye the Science Guy, right? Bill Nye's never going to win a Nobel Prize for his research, but that's not his goal, right? His goal is to educate the masses on science, especially kids, right? So check, right? He absolutely did that. But those would be examples of popular amplifiers. So now go to the upper left quadrant. These are the hidden experts. So think about the Amazon authors who have 5-star reviews, but they have less than 10 of them, right? So people totally appreciate the value they bring, their ideas that they've shared, all of that, but they just don't have a lot of exposure. So I'll throw out a name. Edwina Dunn. Are either you guys familiar with Edwina Dunn?
Oh God, no! I can barely read, David.
So if you were in the retail analytics space, in the technology front, you'd absolutely know who she is. She's an absolute expert in that space, one of the top experts. Well, she's shifted now, and now she's building a platform for empowering women, and she wrote a book. She's got amazing reviews, but she's got 9 of them, right? And compare that to a Sheryl Sandberg, who was the COO at Facebook, highly successful, very well respected, right? And about a decade ago, she wrote the book Lean In. She's got over 17,000 reviews for that book, right?
Wow.
Way more reach on the same topic. Well, she's obviously moved from that hidden expert into what we refer to as an industry icon, right? Sheryl Sandberg is an industry icon in helping women move into leadership roles. Another example on that front would be Warren Buffett, right? Arguably the greatest investor of all time. He's an industry icon. I don't think anybody would argue that. So I guess kind of bringing it back to simple numbers. Where do you guys think Greg Crabtree falls in this? Is he somewhere between hidden expert, industry icon? What's your take?
I would say, as you look at it in the entrepreneurial community, he's fairly well known.
Okay.
But as you look at it across just the spectrum of all business activity, it'd be hidden expert.
Yeah, I mean he's obviously brought new ideas to the industry. And Mike, you and I have talked, right, that the whole concept of the black hole, right?
Right.
And actually putting numbers to it, not just theoretically, but saying, no, this is how it's going to impact your business. But do you think there's that opportunity to gain that additional visibility, right? For the
Of
simple
course.
concepts, but for your practice as well.
Yep.
I think that would be, yeah, Brandon, I think you probably hit the nail on the head. He's an industry icon within a particular niche, right? But he's got the opportunity to reach a much broader audience.
Mm-hmm. What makes for high impact content, and does all of our content need to be at the thought leadership level? Like what, because you talk about it, some people, whether they say things or whatever. So how does that all play into it? I make me understand that part of it, where I'm a thought leader versus it's just content.
Yeah. So I guess I'll break that down into two. So the high impact piece of this, when it's done right, it can influence much more than just the sales pipeline, right? Yes, it shapes how customers and potential customers see you, but it also it impacts your ability to attract top talent, to secure partnerships, maybe even raise capital, right? Because people want to they want to partner with leaders, right? So if you can guide the conversation in your industry and offer those fresh perspectives and educate at that higher level, now you're ahead of the game. And now I guess that said, should all your content be thought leadership at that level? No, I would say it's not. Think of it as a strategic layer in your content plan, not the whole stack, right? You still need that tactical content, right? The how-to guides, the product walkthroughs, customer success stories, all of those, right? Those are essential for nurturing leads in your pipeline. So how would I answer that? I would say, as a rule of thumb, maybe 20-25% of your content should fall into the thought leadership category. So no, not all content needs to be seen as thought leadership. Now, I guess that said, in some industries, that number might be significantly higher, right? So think of like management consulting firms, right? McKinsey's, Gartner's, BCG's. That number is likely much higher for them because it's core to their strategy and how they attract future clients, right?
What about, I always feel like I see out there is someone that's just a contrarian.
Yeah.
Right. Like someone that just is the thought of like an extra, they're just fighting against a man or just like up against those ideas. Is that a thing of thought leadership, or you just a pain in the butt kind of thing that people like to look at? Because I feel that there's some of that where they just like take Dave Ramsey's idea. I'll give you a contrarian on Dave Ramsey, right? I'm going to go make a post right now and be like, hey, this whole don't use a credit card thing, you're nuts, man. Like, I could pay mine off. So guess what? I put it all in there. I rack up the points. I pay it off. Not a dime of interest goes to anybody. And, next thing, I'm paying on my vacations, on my credit card points. And I build credit because I don't know about you. Hey, Dave, guess what, man? You tell people to buy a car for $3,000. Like, good luck finding one. If you want to get to that job to save your money to do these things, I don't know where you're buying a car for $3,000 that doesn't blow up on 565 over here, right? So, am I a thought leader? Like, I'm making that. I'm going out there doing that. Yeah, I feel like I've thought about that before, but
so
I would do like Dave Ramsey. I do like him.
Had to put that in there. Disclaimer. Just in case he hears this, right? So having a contrarian opinion doesn't make you a thought leader, but it could be part of your strategy, right?
Yeah.
So I do believe that putting a stake in the ground, like for me, the stake in the ground is like, this is what thought leadership really is, right? This is the value, and this is what it is. The rest of it is kind of noise. But if you have a contrarian opinion, I think that's good. I think you have to consider who's the audience, who are you trying to attract, right? Are these the doom scrollers, and you end up getting all this visibility and yeah, but is that your target audience? Like, so I think the answer is the contrarian opinion can be very valuable, but
Sure.
you just use it smartly, right?
So should we all be thought leaders or try that or no? Like, is that a thing, or is that only for certain? I mean, it's not an everybody thing, right? I mean, it's got to be at some level, wouldn't you think?
Huh. What I would say is that everybody has the opportunity. Now, I'm not suggesting that the new college grad is, positioning as a thought leader in a particular.
Right. Yeah.
I do feel like you need a decade or two under your belt in an area. So because we're all about within your area of influence, within your industry. So could you not do it? Sure, but in today's kind of AI saturated world where content is basically a dime a dozen,
Sure.
most of these buyers, they're doing their homework. So you are taking a risk by just staying hidden. And right, because someone in your space is going to become the trusted voice, right? The go-to expert, the industry icon. And again, it may not be the company with the best product. It's
Right.
just the one that showed up early, consistently. They shared the insights and they built that trust. So I guess my take is it needs to be baked into the company strategy, right? It's not just a content marketing initiative. It belongs in the leadership team conversations, and maybe for the larger organizations, I think it also belongs in the board level conversation. So ask this question, right? How are we going to increase our authority and raise our impact in the market? Because that's the new landscape, right? It's about being seen as that go-to industry expert, right? Earn that trust, get that visibility, and that's why it's driving the opportunity. So is it for everybody? I think it's for everybody at the right company in the right place in their career.
Awesome. As we wrap this up here, so let's say someone wants to talk to you about this and get involved. How do they reach you?
Yeah, if you've got any questions about any of this, or you're thinking about how your thought leadership could work, in your organization, I'm easy to reach. Just shoot me an email at davidk@thoughtleadership.com, and I'm happy to have a conversation.
Sweet. Because I know I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, because we've had this talk. I know me and Brandon do. I tell Brandon, I'm like, you go ahead and be a thought leader, dude. No one wants my thoughts. So, I'm just here for the ride. But anyways, Brandon, you got anything for David?
I feel like we just kind of scratched the surface. I wish we had about 2 more hours on the podcast, because I think we could go to some really cool places here as far as that part's concerned. I guess if you realize the need, maybe you're a hidden expert or an aspiring player or what have you. What are some things you can do to move toward that industry icon status?
Yeah, great question. So no matter where you're at in the process, whether you're just beginning this, or you say, wait, I do have that expertise. I've written some things internally for a team, or maybe I contributed to something that went public on the team. It's about taking a step back and saying, what do I want to be known for? Within the industry, what do I want to be known for? And where will that move the needle? Where will that move the needle for me personally, but where will it also move the needle for the organization? And then from there, you say, where are my gaps? Like, if I'm going to be known for this, what are the things that I would have to do, that I would have to study, that I would have to learn and write about or talk about, depending if you're writing or you're on a podcast or whatever, that would raise my visibility in this space so that people would understand, and then go do the work, right? Do the study, develop your opinions. Say, like Mike said, right? Don't use credit cards. Baloney, right? No, use credit cards, and here's why. And that's that first. And then don't be afraid to get out there and publish. I think LinkedIn said 98% of people on LinkedIn, I know this is hard to believe based if you're on LinkedIn because you're seeing it, but 98% of people publish nothing on LinkedIn, not a thing, right? Well, that's a huge opportunity, especially
yeah.
if you've got a decade plus left in your career. What do you want to be known for, right? Where do you want to be that known? Not just the subject matter expertise, but you want to become the industry icon in this industry for this particular topic, and just map that out. Where's the gap? And the same is true for, frankly, an organization as well, right? If you want to be known in the industry, then the management team needs to be thinking about, okay, what should we be talking about as a team that raises that visibility?
Awesome. Yeah, but you're right, Brandon. We could talk about all kinds of. This should have been a Rogan episode, like 3 hours.
3 hour podcast.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah, it is crazy when you get into it. All the things you can talk about here and go down, especially when it comes to, I just think about ourselves, me and Brandon, where we're at in our career and things we got to do here for Simple Numbers and stuff like that. And yeah, so. Anyways, this has been great, my man. For anyone, if you missed it, David K at thoughtleadership.com. You want to talk to him more about this stuff and how he might be able to help you, please reach out to him. Definitely good dude with a good business mind and really on point with this stuff, more than I've ever thought. And just in this 30 minutes here, it's been crazy how much I'm now thinking about this. So awesome. Well, it's been great. We'll be back.
Before we kick off,
yeah, here we go. One more.
Yeah. The giveaway. Yeah. So we are offering a giveaway to listeners of the podcast. It's going to be is our Simple Start process, our Simple Start call. So if you like what you're hearing on the podcast around business profitability, all the topics that we discuss, want to learn more about Simple Numbers, we got an easy way for you to do that. It's going to be a free session. So we're going to do a drawing for that. If you're listening, this is going to be coming out at the end of July. By the middle of August, we're going to cut off the drawing. So you need to go ahead and do it. Just head to the Simple Numbers LinkedIn page and message us Simple Start, and that will enter you into the drawing. So go to the Simple Numbers LinkedIn page, message Simple Start. You can enter it. We're going to pick a lucky winner and give that session away to them.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks, David. We appreciate it. And for everybody listening, we'll be back next week. And looking forward to another episode. And I have no idea what we're talking about, but we'll figure something out between now and then. So we'll catch y'all then.
If you want to know more about driving sustainable profitability for your business or are interested in learning more about CRI Simple Numbers, please visit our website at simplenumberscri.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast. You can subscribe to Profitability Playbook on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review. This podcast is brought to you by CRI Simple Numbers LLC, a division of CRI Capital Group LLC, and a subsidiary of CRI Advisors LLC. CRI is the trusted brand under which Carr, Riggs & Ingram LLC, the CPA firm, and CRI Advisors LLC, along with its subsidiaries, deliver professional services. Please note, Carr, Riggs & Ingram LLC is a licensed independent CPA firm offering attest services, whereas CRI Advisors LLC and its subsidiaries specialize in providing tax and business consulting services. These entities operate within an alternative practice structure as defined by the AICPA Code of Professional Conduct and comply fully with applicable laws, regulations, and professional standards. Ready to simplify your business finances and drive growth? Explore valuable resources, books, and tools designed for entrepreneurs and small businesses at simplenumberscri.com.